Inferences. What are inferences? Inferences are the process that you use the information and evidence to make a new conclusion. We make inferences all the time, with sometimes we do it without us knowing that. For example, last Sunday, my brother woke up to see me in the kitchen. On the counter were a big bowl, eggs, flour, a whisk, and yeast. So he asked, "Are you making bread today?" Did he just make an inference upon the information he saw? Yes, he did. As you can see, inferences can be seen everywhere in life. However, today we're only going to discuss tips, requirements, and basic types of V-step listening for inference questions. So, after this video, you are going to achieve the understanding of inferences, how to cope with this tricky question, and last but not least, some fun exercise. So let's start. To find the enemies, first we have to identify them. Then, how can you tell a question that asks for implication? That should usually include the words infer or implied. Easy as that. However, to efficiently tackle this question, we should keep in mind 4 tips that we are going to provide you with today.
Tip number 1. Pay attention to keywords. The correct answer will probably paraphrase some keywords in the questions. Underline them and note down some key points while you're listening. It's really helpful for the inference questions. Now, before applying this tip to an example, let us introduce some new words in the recording. Dough. This is the informal word for money. He can't afford the TV, so he borrowed some dough from his brother. Impulse. A sudden desire. He had a sudden impulse to stand up and sing. Sky high. It means very expensive. Prices for houses in this area are sky high, so I'm going to look for a cheap apartment for the time being. Spend yourself in a hole. It's an idiomatic way to say spend too much that leads to heavy debt. Some people spend themselves in a hole because they can't control their shopping habits. Now, let's come to the first audio. Please pause to underline the keywords yourself first before listening to the recording.
Hi sis, I just came over to drop off the DVDs you wanted and... Hey, wow! Where did you get all this stuff?
I bought it. So what do you think of my new entertainment center? And the widescreen TV?
Bought it?
And my new DVD player. Here, let me show you my stereo. You can really rock the house with this one.
But where did you get the dough to buy all this? You didn't borrow money from Mom and Dad again, did you?
Of course not. I got it with this.
This? Let me see that. Have you been using Dad's credit card again?
No, silly, it's mine. It's a student credit card.
A student credit card? How in the world did you get one of these?
I got an application in the mail.
Well, why did you get one in the first place?
Listen, times are changing, and having a credit card helps you build a credit rating, control spending, and even buy things that you can't pay with cash, like the plane ticket I got recently.
What plane ticket?
Oh yeah, my roommate and I are going to Hawaii over the school break, and of course I need some new clothes for that, so...
I don't want to hear it. How does having a student credit card control spending? It sounds like you spent yourself into a hole. Anyway, student credit cards just lead to impulse spending, as I can see here. And the interest rates of student credit cards are usually sky high. And if you miss a payment, the rates, well, just jump.
The credit card has a credit limit.
Of $20,000?
No, not quite that high. Anyway.
I've heard enough.
Did I tell you we now get digital cable with over 100 channels? Oh, and here's your birthday present, a new MP3 player.
Yeah. No, don't tell me. Charged on the credit card. Listen, hey, I don't think having a student credit card is a bad idea, but this is ridiculous. And how in the world are you going to pay off your credit card bill?
With my birthday money? It's coming up in a week.
Hey, let's sit down and talk about how you're going to pay things back. And maybe we can come up with a budget that will help you get out of this mess. That's the least I can do.
So, in the recording, when we heard the man said,
And how in the world are you going to pay off your credit card bill?
we heard the woman saying,
With my birthday money? It's coming up in a week.
so we know that she is not going to do anything but wait for money from someone. In addition, throwing the cards away and having a part-time job are not mentioned. The answer, therefore, must be A and not the others.
Tip number 2. As you are listening, pay attention to the speaker's tone. Let's try out this audio and decide how did the speaker sound. Happy, excited, sad, angry, or did he show no emotions? What does John imply about his performance? A. He does well in a real show. B. He practiced it well. C. He really likes it. D. He makes a big mistake.
John!
Oh, Louise, hi.
I've just arrived from my singing lesson with Mrs. Thompson. What are you doing here?
I've come for a singing lesson too.
Well, if it's a secret, I won't tell anyone.
It's okay, Louise. I'm going to be in a musical show, so everyone will know soon.
Really? But can you actually sing then?
Well, I was taught to sing at school, you know, but now I'm in the show, I thought I'd better have a few more lessons.
Good idea. What do you think of Mrs. Thompson? She's really strict, isn't she?
She is, but I think if you want to sing properly, then she's the best teacher. You don't have to like her to see that she's really brilliant.
Oh, I suppose so. It's just that she makes me feel so nervous. How did you get chosen for the show?
Well, I went to see a few musical shows before Christmas. I don't know why, because I'd never really liked them before. And I thought I'd like to do that. So I tried for a part in the show at the Regent Theatre, and got it.
Well done. So have you actually done a show yet?
Yes, we've done a practice show just for family and friends.
So how did you feel?
Well, when we'd finished, I wanted to cry because I was so delighted that I'd actually got through it without making any big mistakes.
But did people like it?
Yes, they did. And it was great to have an audience.
I would love to be able to sing and have everybody listen and clap.
It's quite hard to do a musical show, actually. You have to dance as well as sing. It's hard work to get it right.
Oh, I wouldn't be keen on that. I'm only a singer, really.
Since you guys have already listened to the audio, please answer this small question. How does he sound? Happy or sad? For who says happy, congratulations! He's happy, therefore the answer cannot be D. What is the correct answer here? It's B. He practiced it well. Do you understand what we're trying to say? I hope so. So let's move on.
Tip number 3. Never pick an answer that contradicts a main idea from the passage. When an answer goes against something that has been stated or claimed in the audio, it automatically counts as a wrong answer. You can practice this tip with an example, but first, let us introduce to you some new words. Violate. It means to go against or refuse to obey a law, an agreement, and so on. She accused the press photographers of violating her privacy. Theoretically. It's the opposite word for practically. It is theoretically possible for him to overrule their decision, but highly unlikely. Routinely. It means regularly, or as part of a regular procedure. Visitors are routinely checked as they enter the building. Intergalactic. It means between the galaxies. There are some collocations for this word, such as intergalactic space or intergalactic travel. Void. As a noun, it means a large empty space, but as an adjective, be void of means completely lacking in something. Below him was nothing but a black void. Erroneous. It means not correct. You can use this word in some collocations, such as erroneous conclusions or erroneous assumptions. Now, for this example, take a look at the two questions below. The first question is a main idea question. The second one is an inference question. Try to find out which answer in the second question contradicts with the main idea of the audio.
Science fiction is very popular these days, in books, in movies, and on TV. Unfortunately, popular science fiction is often a lot more fiction and not so much science. One of the most common problems is science fiction's fascination with faster-than-light travel. We know that is impossible as it violates Einstein's basic theory of space and time. But on Star Trek and other science fiction shows, spaceships jump from star to star and galaxy to galaxy like you or I might want to drive to another city. In truth, the closest star to Earth, Proxima Centauri, is over 3 light years away. That means traveling at the speed of light, the fastest speed anyone theoretically could travel. It would take 3 years to make it to our nearest neighbor. Other stars and galaxies are routinely thousands and millions of light years away, making intergalactic travel an impossibility. Even if we grant that such space travel somehow was possible, there is no shortage of other errors in popular science fiction. In Star Wars and other films, spaceships swoop across the screen with their engines emitting a great roar. However, since space is a void, sound waves cannot travel. There is no sound in space. It is utterly silent. Gravity is another mystery in these films. Gravity depends mostly on mass. Spaceships are tiny compared to the mass of Earth. In space, there should be practically no gravity. And yet people in science fiction routinely walk around on their spaceships in space as comfortably as they would on Earth. That said, there have been a few scarce films that bothered to portray the science of spaceflight somewhat realistically. In 2001, A Space Odyssey, the ship must rotate to create artificial gravity. Outside the spaceship there is total silence, and the voyage from Earth to Jupiter takes many months. But such films are the exception, not the rule. While science fiction may be enjoyable, you should look elsewhere to learn about science.
As you have heard from the video, in the end, the man said,
While science fiction may be enjoyable, you should look elsewhere to learn about science.
Therefore, he is pointing out the erroneous science in science fiction. So, as for the second question, the answer can't be A, and it directly shows the answer C. Now, here's a quick warning. Don't make a large logical jump from what is directly said. The implication is very similar to what is directly said. You do not need to make a large logical jump. That last point is the most important one. The information is in the recording. Never draw from your own thoughts or experiences if they are not also spoken about in the recording. we have introduced to you 4 tips to deal with the inference question in a V-step listening test. Pay attention to keywords. Pay attention to the speaker's tone. Never pick an answer that contradicts a main idea from the passage. Don't make a logical jump from what is directly said.
V tutorial number 7. We're Hồng Hạnh, Vân Nhi and Hải Anh.
Thank you for listening.